It's early in the morning. I'm off to do my food gathering for the week at the farmer's market. The car's all prepped. I've got my boxes to get the fruits and veggies in, some bags for things like tomatoes and figs, and my trolley to carry all the boxes of papayas and mangoes and everything we're going to collect today. So we'll see you soon at the market. Morning. How you doing?
Want some more sour sauce?
Maybe. I'll be back soon.
Yeah, okay. Taking photo.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'll be coming back for that. So back from the market, this is my beautiful bounty that I've gathered this morning. Got a box of Namdok mangoes that I'll freeze down later in the week, and some smoothie mangoes that I got for free. Dragon fruit, lychees, figs, pears, peaches, nectarines, tomatoes, cherries, pineapple, more mangoes. Mangoes are really cheap at the moment, so I'm getting lots while they're beautiful and ripe so I can freeze them down, and a box of veggies as well. So I'm going to take all of these inside, and I'll show you in a little while how we store our fruits and greens. Hey guys, so I finished my market shop this morning, and I thought I'd show you how we organise our food and how we stay organised as a vegan family. I think that's a stumbling block for a lot of people, is sort of getting their head around changing to a plant-based diet, what they're going to buy, how they're going to store it, and how to sort of stay on top of things through the week, because most people these days lead a pretty full lifestyle. And so I want to show you how I make it easy for us to all make healthy choices on a daily basis. So first of all, when I go to the market, as you saw this morning, I do all of my shopping just by using old fruit cardboard boxes. So I put everything in there and I just stuck it on a trolley, and that makes it really easy, because when I get home I can just carry everything inside from the car, and I'll show you in a minute where I put the boxes, because a lot of stuff just stays in the boxes and we eat it straight out of there. Some of the stuff that needs to go in the fridge I'll put into containers so that it stays really fresh, and that way we've got lots of fresh healthy options right through the week. One of the other things I wanted to mention is I try to eliminate as much plastic as I can, and going to farmers markets is a great way of doing that, because most of the stuff isn't given to you, isn't purchased in plastic. So I use things like, old sort of pillow slips sewn into bags, and the kids' toys, sometimes when we purchase puzzles and things, come in little cloth bags, and so that's how I buy some of my things that are loose, like things like these beautiful fresh figs and tomatoes. Anything that's sort of small and loose I put into these little bags, and that way we can eliminate a little bit more plastic from our lives as well. There's also, I wanted to mention these great little things. If you haven't got lots of cloth bags lying around, you can buy packs of these little reusable bags to put your produce into as well, and then that way you're not having to use plastic when you go and do your shopping. And so I actually just store some of my fruit straight in these in the fridge, and when I get home from the markets I try and get everything put away pretty much straight away. So anything that needs to go into the fridge goes into containers, and anything that needs to be eaten within the first few days I put in. So we've got 2 fridges, so as a family of 5 only shopping for fresh produce once a week, it works really well to have 2 fridges running. So in the main fridge in the kitchen I keep all of the stuff that needs to be readily accessible and also things that need to be eaten within 3 days, and everything else that needs to stay fresher for longer I put in the second fridge, which is in our laundry. And so that's where I put things like potatoes if they need to go in the fridge, or I'll often keep celery up there, although I've actually got the celery in this fridge this week because I want to do a bit more juicing this week. And yeah, other sort of things that I buy in bulk, which I'll talk about in a minute as well, like tahini and coconut syrup and stuff, that all goes in the second fridge. And we also have a chest freezer, so I'll talk about that soon as well. So that's how I sort of process the food when I get home from the market shop. Now I'm going to show you how I store the fresh fruit so you can see how that works, and then I'll show you a little bit of stuff about the fridge and talk about buying in bulk as well. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so this is our fruit stacker. This is where all the fruit goes that needs to be eaten fairly quickly and stuff that I want kids to have ready access to, so that they see it and they're inspired to make a healthy choice when they walk into the kitchen hungry. So they'll come in here and this is one of the first things they see. So from the market this morning I got some pears, I got some beautiful peaches. The peaches are amazing at the moment. Some nectarines as well, and some, one of my favourites, dragon fruit. Look at that, it's so pretty. Some passion fruit, a few apples. It's not really apple season, but we're going back to school this week and apples are just a really great standby for kids' lunch boxes, so I grabbed a few of those. They haven't been that good though. Our pineapple tops. Pineapple is one of those fruits that gives back. You just take the top off and plant it in the garden, and about a year later you might have a pineapple. And down the bottom is where I store all the starchy veggies like potatoes and pumpkin and sweet potato and onions. And I also got a spaghetti squash from the markets this morning, so I'm going to cook that up this week. So that's sort of high use stuff that needs to be eaten quickly. I check this every day though, because things like peaches, they're already quite ripe, so if we don't eat those within the next 24-48 hours, they're going to need to go into the fridge. And by that stage we would have eaten some of the other fruit that's in the fridge, so we'll have made room for those to move into the fridge. So I'm going to show you the other fruit storage area as well. So let's go and have a look at that. So this is how we store the rest of our fruit and some of our bulk goods as well. So like I said, I come home from the market and I can just grab the boxes out of the car and bring them straight in. And this is where the fruit stays for the rest of the week. And again, particularly at this time of year, I'm checking it every day, because as soon as things are getting ripe, then they may need to go into the fridge. If you're not eating them quickly enough, you're going to end up with fruit that's overripe, and that won't be so great. So this morning, what I do at the markets is I buy a lot of stuff in bulk. It's much cheaper that way. And if you buy a whole box of mangoes but you can't get through them in a week, then just freeze them down, and then you've got mangoes in the off season as well, and you can use them in smoothies and mango ice creams and salad dressings. So that was one of the reasons I got this big box of mangoes this morning. So it was only $15. These are Namdok mangoes, so they're the Thai mango. They've got a beautiful light, almost a floral flavour, so they're going to be really nice in smoothies and probably some salad dressings as well. I also got a bag of organic oranges, which I'm going to use the juice in some salad dressings and a few other meals this week. And these beautiful, amazing organic mangoes, and because there were a few that were too ripe, I got quite a few extras for free. A lot of the farmers at the market know me pretty well, and they know that I like my fruit, and so if they've got any extras, they'll often hand them over for nothing, which is really lovely. That's one of the benefits of shopping directly with the farmer, is you get to know the fruit really well. If there's unusual fruits, you can ask them how to use them, and when you've built that rapport and you're buying, you're supporting them every week, then often they'll pass on some extras to you. And this is another jackfruit. So the jackfruits have been amazing. There's this wonderful farmer at our local market that has one for me every week. So that one won't be ready for probably at least a week. We just processed last week's jackfruit yesterday. And you can tell when these are ripe because they start to make the whole house smell incredible. And they start to get some give as well. You can push on them and the skin gives too. The other thing we do to keep organised and to keep costs down is to buy a lot of food, dry goods in bulk as well. So you can set up a co-op with a few different places, like the Source Bulk Foods, I think is one place that you can do wholesale buying through. We do ours through a place called Honest to Goodness. So they're a Sydney-based company and they deliver and you can get a wholesale or a co-op account with them and get everything at wholesale prices. So any of our dry goods like beans, oats, buckwheat, oils, tomato paste, tomato pasta sauces. I've got a few canned beans at the moment, but I don't buy a lot of canned beans. Rice, lentils, all of that sort of stuff I buy in bulk, and we store some of it down here, and that frees up some room in the pantry, and the rest goes in the pantry or in the chest freezer. So things like lentils, rice and polenta, flours, I buy all of those in 5 kilo bags, and I just keep them in the freezer, and I keep a small amount that's being used in the fridge or the pantry. So let's go and have a look at the pantry now, and I'll show you how we keep that all organised. So this is our pantry. This is where we store everything else that's used on a daily basis. And so we've got things like different types of rice, different types of lentils, salsa, polenta, some mung dal, some chickpeas up the back there, different sorts of flours, and then a few smaller quantities of flours that aren't in as much high use as well down the bottom, like tapioca starch and arrowroot, and a few different types of pastas, apple cider vinegar, my spices as well I keep in here at the moment, so they're sort of easy to pull out and get to. And also things like our steel cut oats and rolled oats are all kept in here as well. And a few things that I add to my smoothies like maca powder and mesquite and that sort of stuff as well is all in here. So I try and keep it as visual as I can, so nice, neat and tidy. Most things are in glass jars or labelled so that it's really quick and easy to find what you need when you need it. When you're a busy person, it has to be quick and easy, otherwise you'll just get frustrated and make a poor choice. So I take the time when I get deliveries or when I do the market shop to make sure everything gets organised then, and then that way it's easy for the rest of the week. It's done, and you can always find what you need when you need it. One thing I will mention in our climate is you do have a risk of things like pantry moth getting into your flours and your foods. And so that's something that I really need to keep on top of. They will get into things like your nuts, your grains and that sort of stuff, and so there's a few options there of how to keep that down. I just basically try and keep my eye on things at least weekly or more often. I'll clean the pantry out with apple cider vinegar as often as I remember to, and that is a deterrent for them. And I also use this natural insect repellent spray, which is an essential oil-based product, so it's safe to have around your food. I'll just spray that in the pantry at least once a week or whenever I see it and remember. So that's in there too. That's probably it to show you guys in the pantry. I've got a few other sort of bigger things stored down the bottom. I've got a whole range of glass jars, so I can, when I make a pesto or a nut butter or something, I can put it straight into a glass jar in the fridge. So it's great to have a range of sizes of glass jars on hand as well. And then bigger things, like I've got some rice cakes and a big bulk amount of buckwheat and stuff that's fine in the pantry, so I keep that in here. And then everything else, so the bigger lots of the rices and the lentils and flours and stuff is all stored in our chest freezer, which I won't show you because it's in the laundry, so not as beautiful as this. But I actually have a map of my chest freezer too, because it's actually quite hard to remember where everything is in a chest freezer when it's quite full. So when I put stuff in there, I do a little map up with the levels and I write where stuff is. So again, when you need to go and get something out of the chest freezer, you're not just digging around in there madly trying to find what you need. You actually can just look on the map and go, oh great, it's 3 levels down on the left hand side, and then you know where to go. So that's how I manage that. And again, all of this stuff, well, most of this stuff I get at wholesale prices, and so that makes it easier to cook vegan foods on a budget because you're paying 20 to 30% less than what you'd pay retail. And it also means I buy bulk amounts, which is even cheaper than buying small amounts. So it's wholesale prices and it's cheaper because you're buying 5 kilo lots. So that keeps your costs down as well. And I really love shopping that way because it means we only do a big wholesale shop every 3 to 4 months. We get all of our nuts and seeds that way as well. It keeps the costs down, but it also means that you've pretty much always got what you want on hand. When you start running out of, more than a dozen things, that's when you'll do another order. It eliminates all those little trips to the stupid market, I call it, you know, stocking up on things, because you've got most of what you need here readily available, and so you're not running out of as much stuff, and you've got a clear idea of everything that you've got here. And then I just keep a running list on the fridge of things as I run out of it, and so when it's time to reorder, I can just check my list and order from that. I'll show you that actually in a second too. Let's have a look at that now. Okay, so this is what I was talking about a second ago. We've got this awesome, I love this. This is like a magnet that sticks on your fridge. It's like a little family planner. It's from an Australian little small business called Pantry Design. And this is another way we stay organised through the weeks, especially during the school year when things do get quite hectic. So there's a column for all of the members of your family, as long as you've got no more than 6 members. And we write in here things like, you know, when the kids have got library book day at school or swimming or all of those things go in here, so we can remember what days are what and what we need to pack in the mornings. But with regards to food, this is where I write my shopping list so that when it's time to reorder I know what I need. And this is also, because we've got an extra column, I use that to write up the meals. So what I did with the kids just last week was I went through with them, okay, let's choose 5 meals that you guys are happy to have in your lunch boxes, and I got them all to agree on it. So they chose 5 different meals, so 1 per day, and they're things that I can make in larger amounts. So one of the choices was baked beans, one of the choices was rice paper rolls, which we'll often have for dinner, so it's an easy thing to just make extra for lunch boxes the next day. One of the choices was sushi. So we came up with a few things, and I've just written them up here so that helps us to stay organised as well. So, you know, if we have rice paper rolls for dinner on Monday, then we've got lunch boxes ready for Tuesday. Tuesday dinner will be either baked beans or Mexican beans, which is something that I can make a big batch of. And so that will probably be dinner 2 nights in a row potentially, or another night that week. We can keep it fresh in the fridge or freeze it if need be. And so that just helps me to remember what the kids want to have in their lunch boxes. It helps them feel a little bit more in control and empowered because they've been involved in the choices, and it just keeps our weeks a lot more organised as well. So that's a bit of a new plan for this year. We'll see how it's going to go. I want the kids to get a bit more involved in packing their lunch boxes in the mornings and trying to do lunchbox prep for bigger meals that will stay fresh a couple of times a week, rather than having to make everything in the mornings, just to reduce the pace of those mornings a little bit. So we'll let you know how that goes at a later date. I think that's it for today's video. I hope that helps everyone think about and process how to be organised, how to shop when you're trying to incorporate more plant foods in your diet, how to organise your kitchen so that everything's readily accessible. Actually, one more thing I'll talk about as well is, since shopping at the farmer's market, the kids eat so much more fresh produce, both fruits and veggies, and I think that's because everything at the farmer's market has been grown by the person, almost in all cases, that has it there, and they've picked it either that morning or the day before, at the most 48 hours before. It hasn't been shipped long distances, it's grown locally in the environment that you're living in, and you're talking to the farmers, you can see how beautiful and fresh the fruit is, and the food has flavour. You know, tomatoes have flavour. All of the fruits like the peaches and the figs and the mangoes, they taste incredible. And so the kids are more likely to make those choices because they taste really good. Whereas if you're shopping at a supermarket, the food, God knows where it's come from, how long it's been stored for, when it was ripened, if it was artificially ripened with chemicals, how long it's been shipped, you know, where it's been shipped from. It's possibly even come from overseas. You're not supporting the local economy. So there's so many reasons to try and find a local farmer's market, and they're everywhere. There's really no excuses. Just make it a part of your routine. I love my farmer's market trip. I do it every Saturday morning, early in the morning. If one of the kids is awake, they come with me, otherwise I go on my own. So it's either my sort of little luxury time where I get a bit of headspace and I get to talk to the farmers and buy all our beautiful produce for the week, or 1 or 2 of the kids will come along with me and we'll have a great time together, and then we get to do a bit of maths practice and stuff, paying for all the produce. So it's a great way to shop, and it's a lot more fun, and you're outside in the sunshine, and you know, there's so many reasons to try and shop that way. So I encourage you to try and do that as much as you can, and once you incorporate that into your routine, then it becomes a really fun part of your week. So give that a go. Shop at the farmer's market, try shopping in bulk. It'll keep the costs down, your food will taste so much better. You'll probably be able to afford to buy organic, whereas you won't be able to necessarily if you're buying small amounts from more sort of boutique places where it's a lot more expensive. And so that's how we do it, that's how we can afford to eat this way, and it's how we stay organised despite a really busy, hectic lifestyle. So hopefully that helps everybody else as well. See you guys.